speaking of Nebraska, Illinois wins in overtime over Nebraska. I was really upset, guys. We would have had 5 days of overtimes in a row if Ohio State wouldn't have, double dribbled in that one. But it's
Why'd they
fine
do that?
because they're dumb.
Oh, okay. Just
I
making
don't know.
sure.
I don't know. There's a reason why I started leaving Ohio State off of the list of games we talk about because it just turns into me crapping on them the whole time because I don't really like my team this year, but it is what it is. So, let's move on to, like I said, Nebraska and Illinois. Illinois comes through clutch here in the end. They had a 10-point lead late, and then Nebraska made the comeback. And there was that questionable foul call toward the end of regulation that, who was it? Was it Domask, that got the foul called on him, and he was able to hit the free throw, miss the second one. So they went to overtime. Kent, we'll get your thoughts on this game first. What'd you think?
Yeah, I joked about it on Twitter this morning when I was putting out the what games are happening today tweet that obviously with the other game that was taking place today, I said that this could be the game of the year, Illinois and Nebraska. And you know what? It actually turned into a very entertaining game. I love this game. That was fun to watch. Just throwing punches back and forth. There was a couple of moments like at the end though. You talked about that foul already, but there was a spot, I think there was about 17 seconds left. I can't remember exactly because it just happened, but Juwan Gary had a chance to get an and one, and they were down two at the time, and it just rolled. It barely missed. It hit the heel of the rim and then came out. But if he hits that and one, they could have won that in regulation. And then there was just some weird turnovers by Illinois with 30 seconds left, but overtime was awesome. Like I said, they were just going back and forth, and then the very end of overtime, Nebraska still had a chance to tie it one more time. They had the ball, and Tominaga threw it to Mast, and it was going to be a deep three, but he tried to. I thought I'm not going to be too critical of Mast because he's been so good this year, and he was even good in this game. But I thought he should have pulled that right when he got it because he had Shannon Jr. closing out on him, and he ended up stealing the ball right out of his hands, and that was the game. So I would have liked to see him at least get that shot up, a chance to tie it one more time in overtime. But, this is a great game, and it's nice because if you're a Nebraska fan at least, even though you lost this game, it's nice to see them show up on the road because they haven't done that yet, hardly at all this year. So you see a Nebraska team maybe turning the corner. Maybe they can pick up a few road wins down the stretch here. If you talk to some of their fans or guys that are watching a lot of their games, they need a road win to be in the NCAA tournament. I don't know if that's 100% true because I'm not a bracketologist, but yeah, I think that they can get some. Now that I've seen this, I'm a little bit more convinced that they can actually go on the road and win one. But this is a good win for Illinois too, though. You got to give them credit. Expected to win this game, expected to win it by a little bit more, but Nebraska came in fighting and they got the win at the end of the day, so that's what they needed.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Illinois was going to win by a little bit more. Like I said, they were up by 10, getting to near the end of the game, and Nebraska was able to make a comeback. And I agree. If I'm a Nebraska fan, I love to see that, on the road and making a comeback like that late in the game and being resilient to do that. I love to see that. Hate the result of the game, obviously, but it would give me hope for playing some road games in the future. Ryan, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, for Nebraska, you hit it. That's a tough game. You don't expect to win. You got to take more positive than negative away from that. I got to imagine at least. The road win thing is true. It's not like the committee is going to look at it and be like, they have 0 road wins. They can't be in the tournament. That's it's not black and white, but teams like Rutgers, I think it was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago when they missed a tournament. I think it was last year. They just missed a tournament. They were so good at home and so bad on the road. And it basically ruins their strength of record. It ruins everything. It ruins their KenPom rating. So it basically determines their metric ranks. And Nebraska in the tournament as of right now, they're quote unquote on the bubble, but they're on the right side of the bubble. They will have to win a couple of big games like that. This was not a game that you needed to win by any means. I think they did their job for the most part. It kind of sucks the way it fell out. The shot making was incredible too. We know they can shoot. They shot, I don't know what they shot from three. I have it up here somewhere. They shot 43% from three. We've seen them do that time and time again, like Keisei Tominaga and Rank Mast. They can let that thing fly, and it felt like they were just there for the moment. And when you think about the NCAA tournament, those games were say they're an 8 or 9 seed, which is very, very attainable and very likely for them. When they play a 1 seed in the second round, they can get into the heat of momentum and in those moments and hit those big shots. And like, they might not win those games, I'm not sure, but those are the little things, like the non-metric and non-statistical things that like you want to see. And also having Juwan Gary and their whole entire team healthy, what it feels like now, they're able to defend a little more athletically, which is good, because I had that worry against a team like Illinois, was bigger and like a bunch of athletes, and they're like NBA talented guys like Terrence Shannon. But they played really well against that, and it came out to Illinois. Illinois has more talent. Like, maybe it's only by a little bit, maybe it's a lot, but Illinois has those athletes and that talent, and that shot making was on their end also, because like Terrence Shannon hit a couple of big ones at the end of regulation. Like, that's just kind of is what it is. Illinois is a good team, so
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna get shot making like this from Kasai Tominaga, like, you can beat any team out there for real. I mean, 14 for 21 and then 5 from 7 from 3-point land, like, that's just amazing. And if I told you he did that on the road, like, nobody would believe me. You would think, oh, he did that at home. No, he's actually struggled the past few games that they've been at home, and this is, I think, his first 30-point game of the season this year. So he could be coming into his own a little bit more and kind of brushing off some of those shooting woes that he's had lately. And if he starts playing like this more consistently, then Nebraska is going to be very, very formidable. And I think some fans would look at this and say, oh, we only beat Nebraska by 3 on the road. If maybe they didn't watch the game, and some of the thoughts that Illinois fans have had lately of, we're struggling with Terrence Shannon Jr. coming back, and we're not quite looking like ourselves. I felt like this is the best Illinois has looked in a couple of weeks, probably ever since Terrence Shannon Jr. came back. And I think it's be very encouraging that you saw your team falter a little bit, lose some of their lead, and then come back, win the game, even against really good shooting. Ryan, I just overall your thoughts on Illinois struggling with Terrence Shannon Jr. coming back, and did they look better in this one to you?
Yeah, I'd agree with that for the most part. I'm not worried, because like, it's not like he's brand new to the program and team, which I think helps a lot, where he's been there and a lot of the guys have been there for the most part. So I'm not really worried at all. And I mean, worried in that sense, at least. There are other things, like, I don't know how Illinois fans exactly feel about their ceiling this year, and can they win a Big Ten title in the tournament? Can they go to a Final Four and compete for national title? Like, I don't know if I see that upside. But they're a top 10, they're 14 right now. They're a top 15 team in the country. They basically have been all season long. So you would think that if you're top 15 all year, you're contending for a national title. I just don't know if they have the makeup to do that outside of the on paper talent, which even then, I don't know if it's there. So
yeah, it's an interesting thought. Kent, I'm curious your thoughts on the ceiling of Illinois this season with Terrence Shannon Jr. playing better and stuff. We looking at Elite Eight? We looking at Final Four? Or is that asking too much? Maybe Sweet 16 is probably the ceiling. What do you think, Kent?
I think they could go to the Final Four. I do. I think they're that good, and really, it's not just because of their scoring and the guys that they have that can put the ball in the rim. I think it's their defense. Coleman Hawkins is, I think, going to win Defensive Player of the Year. That's what I've been reading and hearing people talk about for the Big Ten. So they have him down low. And then if you didn't see the game tonight, I thought that Terrence Shannon Jr. was a menace defensively. Like, I talked about the steal he got at the end of overtime, but there were other plays like earlier on towards the end of regulation, just throughout the game in general, that, where he's checking Tominaga and he's just right in his grill the whole time. And he's so athletic that he can be that big body on a guard in the tournament that, might be getting hot, and then they run into Illinois and they have Terrence Shannon guarding him. Yeah, that's gonna be tough, man. So I think that they can make a deep run. I think they can make it to a Final Four, and once you get there, obviously anything can happen at that point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I listen to Sleepers Media, and Greg Waddell is all about them going to Final Four and all that stuff, which I don't know. If Illinois plays their best game every single time in the tournament, I could definitely see them getting to the Final Four. But if they do struggle, and if they do have some of these mishaps with what's been going on, or if they do run into a team where they can't switch like they want to and things like that, I could see them faltering and maybe going down. But the fact is, Illinois is going to be a matchup problem for many of the teams that they face. A lot of these teams are not going to be able to do well with the size that Illinois brings out there. My one concern is if they run into somebody who is able to play them similar to Zach Edey played to Ty Rodgers, where he just literally did not even come close to Ty Rodgers when he was on the 3-point line. I mean, he just stayed down low and was able to protect the paint, and Ty Rodgers really wasn't able to be much of an issue. Now, you do have Luke Goody and Justin Harmon who can come in and help out in those areas, but at some point, I do think it's going to come back to bite Illinois. The fact that they don't have a true point guard on this team, and we know how important guard play is, especially in the NCAA tournament. Kent, am I crazy to think that Illinois could be, in danger of a possible first or second round exit?
I mean, I think you are, but
Okay.
we're still going to be friends after this.
That's fine. Illinois fans won't be friends with me, but that's fine.
I think that their floor is the Sweet 16. To me, that that's for me. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but March Madness is so crazy. You see like Purdue lost last year to someone. What was it, Farley Dickinson last year, and that shouldn't have happened. That, and things like that happen every year. So I obviously it's possible, but there shouldn't be a close game for them, in my opinion, until the Sweet 16. That's just how I see it. Like their seed line is going to be way too high, and they're not. They got to get to the second weekend. They just have to this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's the likely scenario, but if they run into the wrong team, it could possibly happen. Ryan, am I crazy to think that it's a possibility that Illinois' lack of true point guard on their team could end up them leaving in the first or second round of the NCAA tournament?
No, both you guys said, it's like on paper, I don't think that's crazy at all. And also it's the tournament. So like Ken said, like anything can happen kind of thing. They're going to probably end up maybe around the 3, but probably on like a 4 seed line. And that's a big difference where if you're on that 4-5, one, you have to play a really, really good mid-major in the first round. So like if they get like a McNeese State who's been cooking in there, they can play physical and slow the game down and give them a lot of issues and stifle their offense a little bit. I think it's a bad matchup. Just like a first team came to my head. But then also, even if you win that first game, you're likely going to have to play the other 4 or 5 that maybe that's Kentucky or maybe that's someone that no one wants to play because that's where Kentucky is at. And there's a lot of other big schools like Illinois and these teams that don't want to play each other so early, but 2 of them are likely going to have to unless they get bounced first round. And then you got to play a 1 seed after that. So the path of where their likely seed is going to be real, real tough.
And we do want to check in on Nebraska with this too, because I've heard conflicting stuff. And we talked a little bit about them being on the right side of the bubble. Ryan, do you see Nebraska as a tournament team here in March?
Yeah, I have them in right now. I was literally just doing this a couple hours ago before their loss, pushing 9 seed line, probably around like a 10. I mean, this is like a weird thing, but you'd always rather be a 10 than an 8 or 9 because the 8 or 9, you got to play a team that's just as good as you, and then you got to play a 1 seed after that, and you might get Houston or Purdue that you just don't want to play. You just don't want to play against those teams. But I think Nebraska will be in the tournament. I think they're a tournament team now. Obviously, they're nowhere near locked in. They have a lot of work to do to keep that spot. But they're on the right side right now. A lot of the bubble teams are like the Pac-12 teams like Colorado and Oregon and Wazoo that play like really weak schedules in comparison to the other power conferences. So they have a big advantage if they can get some big wins the rest of the way.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. Kent, we'll finish it with you here. Nebraska tournament team, yes or no?
Yes. I tweeted out that they were a tournament team after they beat Wisconsin the other day, but I was just pulling up their schedule because we were talking about how bad they need to win a road game. They still have Michigan on the road. That's for sure a win. And Ohio State and Indiana. I don't know if we already talked. I don't think we already discussed that, but I think that they could win all 3 of those road games. And then, tack on a couple more home games, and they're going to like I said, I don't do bracketology. I don't even dabble in it. So in my casual mind, if you get to 20 wins, you're in the tournament. I don't know if that's normal or not.
In the Big Ten, I think that's fair. And in their situation, I think that sounds fair.
Yeah. So I feel like they will get to 20. And then I think that they could win 1 or 2 in the Big Ten tournament. And then they're for sure going to be in. But like I said, I have no idea like what line they'll be on or anything like that. I would like to see them in. Does that count for anything? I want them to be in. If the committee's listening, I would like to see the Nebraska Cornhuskers in the NCAA tournament. If you guys can make that happen, I'd appreciate it. I feel like that helps, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, really, if you look at their schedule, since I brought it up right after you did, their next game is at Northwestern, and then after that, I mean, they don't really have any more top tier teams in the Big Ten to play. They have Michigan, Penn State, Indiana, Minnesota, Ohio State, and Rutgers. Which
good and bad, I feel like.
Yeah, like again, this is the Big Ten. It's hard to win, but
Yeah.
like if you ask me, would you rather be finishing your year with 2 games against Michigan and away games at Ohio State and Indiana,
Right.
or 2 games against Purdue and away games against Northwestern? Like, I'd rather choose this.
You said they're at
So,
Northwestern.
next week. Yes,
Which day is
That's
that? This coming
Wednesday.
week? That's huge. They're in the same spot right now. They both need to win. Oh, winning getting your away win at Northwestern, but like
Yeah.
they'll basically lock in. There you go.
I need to get out to Northwestern sometime soon. Every single time I watch them at home this season, I'm just thinking to myself, I got to get there. I got to get there and see a game.
It looks fun. Yeah.
Wait, what's that other team in Chicago? We got to go. We'll do a doubleheader.
Chicago State.
Yeah. Exactly.
No. There was that. Remember that college we found? It was like I can't even remember the name of it. It was like
I-
University College or something.
University.
Is
I
it
can't
East
remember.
West? Is that a real?
East
I
West,
don't
yeah,
know.
that's
What,
what it-
Yes.
I didn't know it's
East
Chicago.
West.
I just know it's East West, so it's probably in the middle. There you go.
Yeah. That's it. We got to go to an East West game and then a Northwestern game, just like all the directional
Wow.
school games. Yeah, that'd be fun.
I need to go to an Indiana State game. I was talking to my wife about buying tickets and going to that one. I need to see Avila live before he moves on. So, thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.